You're probably familiar with the famous Haji Ali Dargah of Mumbai, but do you know the story behind it? Allow me. The story of Haji Ali starts in 15th century Persian Empire, that's modern-day Uzbekistan, in a small town named Bukhara. There lived a merchant who was known as much for his wealth as for his piousness. One legend tells us how once he saw a poor woman crying by the road in distress. She was dressed in rags and held an empty vessel in her hands. His compassion aroused, the man asked what had happened. The woman said she had been sent by her husband to buy oil, and as she was walking home, she stumbled upon a rock and spilled it all. She was terrified that her husband would beat her and started wailing even louder. Taking pity on her, the man struck the ground with his finger and out came oil gushing from the opening. The astounded woman quickly filled up her vessel and went on her way, her heart filled with gratitude and relief. Like thousands after her, her problem had been solved by Sayyid Pir Haji Ali Shah Bukhari, or simply Haji Ali. The word Pir means saint in common Sufi terminology. Haji means he who has undertaken Hajj or the holy Muslim pilgrimage, and Bukhari means one who comes from the town of Bukhara. Our miracle worker, however, was far from pleased with his act. While he had helped the woman in need, he felt terribly guilty for having injured Mother Earth. The guilt began to gnaw at him, gave him unpleasant dreams, and ultimately made him ill. His doctor recommended a change of place, and it was then that Haji Ali came to Mumbai with his brother. He was so enamored by the land of spices that he decided to spend the rest of his life in India, working towards social welfare and spreading the message of Islam. Towards the end of his life, he decided to undertake the penultimate pilgrimage of Hajj. Before setting out, he donated all his wealth and gave up all his material possessions. But knowing the state of his health, he instructed his followers that should he die on the way, his body should be thrown into the ocean. He wished to be buried wherever the casket came floating back. His fears were not unfounded, for he died on the way to Mecca. His followers did as he asked, and it was on the islet of Worli that his casket found its final resting place. A tomb was built in his honor in 1431 AD. Its present form, which is a lovely specimen of Indo-Islamic architecture, was constructed in the early 19th century. Incidentally, another mausoleum, the Ma Hajiani Dargah, was built close by in Worli in 1908 in the memory of Haji Ali's sister, Ma Hajiani. She had followed her brother to India and had been his constant companion in all the social work. But it is the Haji Ali Dargah that is the star attraction. The complex comprises an ornamental gate, the Dargah Sharif or the main tomb, a Kawal Khana or an open hall for religious singing, a mosque with a minaret and a sanatorium. The property, spread over 50,000 square feet, is maintained by a trust. Let's take a moment here to understand the difference between a dargah and a mosque. A dargah is a shrine built over the grave of revered Muslim saints or holy persons. The Ajmer Sharif Dargah of Khwaja Moinuddin Chishti at Rajasthan is a famous example. A mosque, on the other hand, is a place of communal worship of Allah and other religious activities. The Jama Masjid is one such well-known example in Delhi. The gate, the mosque, the sanatorium at Haji Ali complex are fairly recent additions and are whitewashed concrete structures. But the famous main dome of the Dargah and the 85 feet high minaret are now reinforced with fine Makrana marble from Rajasthan, which is the same stuff the Taj Mahal is built of. Inside, one witnesses Haji Ali's grave mounted on a silver frame and covered with a red and green chadar. The ceiling has a striking old chandelier or jhumar with some beautiful colored glass inlay work and arabesque patterns with calligraphy of the 99 names of Allah. Different praying areas are demarcated for men and women. A 640-meter long open concrete causeway which joins the complex to the mainland was built in 1944. This causeway would be immersed during the high tides and one could go to the Dargah only when the tide was low. A slight elevation of the causeway was made later to allow one to visit the pier at all times of the day. However, during the peak monsoon season, the causeway is closed for the public when it is submerged. Battered constantly by the sea and the saline breeze, the structures need constant repair and renovation. An extensive restoration drive costing a staggering 9 crore rupees was initiated in 2009. The constant repair work, however, has never deterred Pir Haji Ali's devotees. More than 10,000 people visit the Dargah each day, with weekends and special occasions like Haji Ali's Urs and Eid seeing the numbers swell up to 30,000. The remarkable thing though is that the Dargah's visitors come from all sections of the society. Everyone's united on this little islet in the hope that Haji Ali will fulfill their wishes. Many people fervently kiss the grave or make offerings of flowers, incense and chadars to the Pir, also lovingly called Sahib Baba. Some tie red threads to the lattice or on a tree known as the Mannat tree, having made their supplications. The belief is that no prayers go unanswered when you ask for Haji Ali's intervention. The Haji Ali Dargah is thus a place where nature and architecture, man and miracle, faith and follower culminate beautifully.